This is the torture chamber of England's most haunted castle. But the hauntings are all rumor, right? Hi loves, it's Aura. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a brand new video. This video is the second one for this build and is part of the Hell House collab. The talented HIPHIPRENEE asked me to join her and other amazing simmers to bring you all builds that are found in popular horror media. If you haven't seen the first video, I will link it above. Please make sure to check it out because it has important information in it that is relevant to this video. In this episode of A Haunted History, we will be taking a look at how Chillingham Castle in Northumberland, England has gotten the reputation for being the most haunted castle in the entire country, possibly all of Europe. We have already discussed the general history of the castle, so we will focus on specific events that have contributed to the spirits of the dead lingering. There will be heavy talk about torture and death in this video, so viewer discretion is highly advised. To give a bit of backstory, which I go into more detail in my previous video, the castle is situated in the northeast part of England and was an important location during the multiple wars with the Scottish. Chillingham is no stranger to war, and if you have seen my other haunted videos, war and disease are the top two contributors for making for a perfect storm for hauntings. With Chillingham being the base for King Edward I's campaign against the Scottish, the castle's dungeons quickly began to fill. Prisoners of war were held at the castle, Scottish women and children along with soldiers and spies. The dungeon in which they were held was extremely cramped, less than an arm's width across, and was almost pitch black. There was a small trapdoor embedded in the floor, and the castle's hungry hounds were kept 20 feet beneath it. When one of the prisoners died, they would simply open the door and drop them down for the dogs to eat. Sometimes the guards and torturer would drop people into the hole, regardless of if they were dead or not, usually breaking their bones in the fall and then being torn apart by dogs. There are still bones of a child that can be seen down there today. Legend says that King Edward I personally appointed the torturer for Chillingham, John Sage. Sage was said to be a soldier in Edward's army that had done fairly well and had risen to the rank of lieutenant. He suffered an injury to his leg, which caused him to have a limp and forced him to retire from combat, but he asked the king to find him a job at the castle. Sage was an extreme sadist and had a deep hatred for the Scots. It is said that during the 3 years of war that he was at the castle, he tortured about 50 people a week. The torture chamber itself was created with a sloping floor so that the blood would drain away. The wide range of devices that Sage had at his disposal included an Iron Maiden, which is an iron cabinet shaped like a human, filled with spikes inside that pierced the body once the door was closed. A spiked chair, a chair with spikes on it that often prisoners were asked to sit down on, and because it was so dimly lit, they didn't see the spikes until it was too late. Their hands were secured and a fire was placed underneath the seat. The spikes would heat up and the person's skin would melt away. This is where the term being in the hot seat comes from. There was also a stretching rack, a table where people were placed and their hands and feet were secured at either end. There was a wheel that the torturer would turn, and it would tighten the rope attached to the hands or feet. Eventually, their muscles and ligaments would be torn from bone. There was also a nailed barrel where a person would be placed inside a barrel lined with nails, and then the barrel would be rolled, forcing the person to fall onto the nails. A bed of nails, hanging cages, and thumb screws were all also used. When the end of the war was called, the dungeons were still filled with Scottish prisoners. Sage, instead of letting them go because of the information they might have, took them all into the courtyard, separated the children from the adults, and made the children watch as he burned the adults alive. Then he took the traumatized children upstairs to the King Edward bedroom and hacked them all to death with an axe. The axe is still on display at the castle. In all, it is said that about 7,500 Scottish prisoners died at Chillingham, with their bodies being dumped into the nearby lake or still remaining in the castle. John Sage also met his end at Chillingham Castle. It is said that one evening he killed his lover, Elizabeth Charlton, strangling her while having sex with her on the rack in the torture chamber. Her father was the leader of a powerful outlaw border gang, and in order not to lose the support of the outlaws to the Scottish, King Edward handed Sage over to them. Sage was sentenced to hang at Chillingham Castle, but was torn apart while still alive. The spirit of John Sage is said to still haunt the torture chamber of the castle, with many visitors thinking that the malevolent being that is known to cause harm to people is his spirit, while others believing the entity is something much darker. Many people hear someone dragging one of their legs while they are walking, and it is believed to be the spirit of Sage. The spirits of the unfortunate souls of those he tortured are said to relive their final moments in the castle. Screams of pain are still heard in the torture chamber, as well as the popping and snapping of bones, joints, and ligaments from those tortured on the rack. While many people claim to hear these terrifying things in the torture chamber, this is not the original location of the room. The original one still contains human remains, and a seance was conducted in it, with many members attacked so violently that they sealed the room off. When the need for a strong military presence in the north began to decline, the defensive structures of the castle were replaced or removed. The castle underwent many renovations in order to turn the castle into a lavish estate. In the 19th century, renovators uncovered the bodies of a man and child hidden by a trapdoor to the underground vaults. But these would not be the only skeletons found within the structure of the castle. During the 1920s, the skeleton of a child was found in another room, bricked up in a wall. The skeleton's fingers and fingernails are said to be worn away at the tips, like he was trying to claw his way out. The room had frequently been haunted by the spirit of a child in blue clothes who would emerge from the wall where the skeleton was found. It is said that the boy glowed, giving him the nickname Blue Boy or Radiant Boy. People would hear cries of pain or fear before the spirit would manifest itself. The body was found with incriminating documents of the Spanish invasion of 1588. So it is thought that one of the aristocrats staying at the castle was plotting against the English and walled the boy up with the documents to ensure his silence. Even the chapel is said to be haunted. 2 skeletons were found inside a vault beneath the floors. A third skeleton, thought to be unrelated to the first 2, was found underground a little distance away. The single skeleton is that of a young girl, and due to the position of her body, it is believed that she was hiding, but from who or what we will never know. Her spirit is said to still haunt the chapel, and she frequently communicates with women, playing with their hair, tugging on their clothes, and filling the corner of the room she was found in with sadness. The former pantry is said to also be haunted by what is known as the pantry ghost. This apparition appears in the white pantry, dressed in white and looking very pale and ill. It is said that one night, a guard that was locked inside of the room to protect the valuables stored there was approached by a woman begging him for water. He noticed how ill she looked and turned to go get her some water, and then remembered that he was locked inside, alone. Startled, he turned back and she was gone. Legend says that because of how she looked, it is likely she was poisoned and dying, and still asks for help to this day. Another ghost said to haunt the castle is the spirit of Lady Mary Berkeley, the wife of Lord Grey of Wark and Chillingham. Lord Grey is said to have run off with his wife's sister, Henrietta, in 1682, and Lady Mary was left alone in the castle with their infant daughter. She died in the castle in 1710, and it is said that people hear the rustle of silk and feel an eerie chill before she manifests. People have also said that her ghost can be seen staring out of windows on the upper floors. There are said to be screams of agony that can still be heard in the courtyard, apparently from those burned to death there. The King Edward bedroom, where the children were killed, is also very active for paranormal activity. It is said that a dark and sinister presence dwells there, often attacking people inside. The inside of Chillingham isn't the only thing haunted. The surrounding grounds of the castle are also said to contain the spirits of those long gone. Walking through the gardens, you wouldn't expect to find a pathway into the dense forest. Once you walk far enough in, you will come to 3 gnarled trees, the hanging trees. It is said that many executions took place at Chillingham, but they were rarely quick. People are said to have been hanged by their feet to prolong their agony. The bodies were not removed and given what they would call a proper Christian burial, and the remains are still being found to this day. One gruesome story of the hanging trees is that some monks were walking by from a nearby monastery. They saw some people still alive and hanging from the trees and went to help them, but they were unfortunately caught by guards and hanged. It is said that the monks can still be seen wandering around, and many people see light anomalies and hear disembodied footsteps and voices. Even the drive up to the castle has its own hauntings. The drive is lined with trees, and it is said to have been used for hangings, and is aptly nicknamed Devil's Walk. Human remains are still found here, and people have heard footsteps and seen light anomalies. Chillingham Castle and the grounds are currently open to ghost tours, and many paranormal teams have visited over the years. It's packed with troubled souls, far, far too many to deal with, on no account by this castle. That was the advice given to Sir Humphrey Wakefield by a psychic just before he bought the castle. What do you think? Should he have taken her advice? Is Chillingham Castle haunted? Let me know down below. As always, thank you for watching the finale of A Haunted History. If you liked this series, be on the lookout for other History of videos that will be coming to you shortly. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Be sure to hit that bell so that you are notified when I post new content. It really helps my channel out a lot. Stay safe and stay spooky, friends, and I will see you in the next one.